Good morning. I'm so glad that you joined me this morning, and I'm thrilled that you want to learn English, and I hope that you will learn something in our class today, and I hope that you will practice it as well, because that's an important part of not just learning it, but using it and practicing it, whether it be writing it down again or speaking with someone and using one of the idioms or the verb tense that we're studying right now. So thank you for joining me. I'm Marge Peterson with the Claiborne County Adult Literacy Council, and we have these classes, video classes, but we also have classes in the classroom. And if you'd like more information about it, we have classes in the classroom every Tuesday and Thursday morning. And we have different levels of English proficiency. So if you know of someone and they don't know very much English, we have teachers that are more like tutors, because it's not a huge class, so that they can really practice with their students. And then we have the more advanced levels too. So thank you. I'm glad that you joined me. Thank you again for joining. Okay. We're going to start out with our idioms that we've been doing for many months now, we'll put it that way. I've been doing them by categories, and the category that we have right now is sports, games, and athletics. So all the idioms have to do with some kind of games or sports or some type of doing something that you would be physically active with doing, okay? So we've had 10 so far, and we're going to do another 5 today. But the 10 we've had is to have a ball. This is a review of them, to really enjoy yourself. If you have a ball, it's great. That's the way the ball bounces. That's life, that's the way it is. You can't change certain things, so you have to accept them. That's the way the ball bounces, okay? Or another one that it said in the information was, that's the way it goes, and it would be life. Okay, that's the way it goes. On the ball, if someone's really a good worker and intelligent and works well and does things quickly and efficiently and correctly, you'd say that person's on the ball. Start or get the ball rolling. If you start the ball rolling or you get the ball rolling, that means you begin some kind of project or activity or something, and people join you. As you know, if you get the ball rolling, it's like taking the first step. There's a saying we have in English about something about half the journey is taking the first step. And that's kind of like the idea of getting the ball rolling. Because maybe some people say, oh, let's have a party for something or other, a farewell party for someone that's leaving. And everyone says, yes, we should do that, but nobody actually starts the planning. And if you do, why then you get the ball rolling, or you got the ball rolling, okay? You can, for these things that, to have a ball, to start or get the ball rolling, the things that start with verbs, the idioms that start with verbs, you can use past, present, or future tense with those, okay? The ball is in your court. If someone says the ball is in your court, that means it's your turn to speak or act if someone has said something or asked you a question and you haven't answered it yet. The ball is in your court. A whole new ball game. It refers to a whole different situation. If you move from one place to another, and you move from a large city to a very, very rural area, you might say your life is a whole new ball game because it's so different, okay? It's a completely different situation due to a new set of circumstances. If something is a whole new ball game for you, that means that it's totally different than what it's been before. Throw something together. If you throw something together, you haven't planned. Let's say that let's say that some people call and say, hey, we're in town, we want to come over to see you for a while. Well, you want to have some food or something there, so you just throw something together because it's not pre-planned, okay? So that's the whole idea, is that you can produce something quickly without pre-planning it, okay? A fishing expedition. A fishing expedition is if you need some information from somebody or from a certain group or something like that, and you, let's say that you start asking questions, not about what the information you really need, but kind of related to it. You are on a fishing expedition because it's a way to get information about something in any way possible, okay? So you want to just talk to somebody without coming directly to them and getting any information. It's kind of a way to get the information, the fishing expedition. It's around. And of course, fishing is a sport. It's also an athletic kind of competition in a way, or activity. Many times it's a competition because I know that from my husband's experience in clubs, fishing clubs, where they go out everybody in the same day or same morning, or sometimes it goes on for several days or weeks, and it's a contest to see who can catch the largest fish. So that's the literal, but that has nothing to do with our idioms. Our idioms use the fishing as a what do I say? As a way to relate it back to the literal meaning, okay, for the idioms. Fishing for compliments. If you're fishing for something, it's like you want people to compliment you on something. Maybe you have a new house and it's a beautiful new house, and so you tell somebody, oh, let's come on over and we'll visit for a while. Well, you want them to say, oh, your house is so beautiful, you've got all these new furnishings or different things like that. You're fishing for compliments in a way, so that you want to show off something or say something or do something, and obviously wait for other people to say something nice about it. A compliment is something nice that someone says. Okay. Learn the ropes. If you start a new job or move to a new place or something like that, and you need to, especially starting a new job, you need to learn how to do different things, or who to contact for this, or what to do, or how to work this program or something like that. You are learning the ropes, okay? That you're learning how to do something new correctly. Those are the 10 that we've had so far. So we have 5 more we're going to do. Excuse me. I didn't realize that would come down at the same time. Okay, the 5 that we're going to do for today, okay, and it's still within the same sports, games, and athletics. To ride out the storm. And again, this is a verb so that you can use it. They rode out the storm. It means to survive a dangerous or very unpleasant situation. So if you think about a storm, if you were in a boat, the literal meaning of riding out the storm would be if you have to get back to your home place, or where you launched the boat. You want to get back there, and a big storm comes. You didn't know it was coming, and it comes up very quickly. You have to get back there, so even if the storm comes, you have to keep on going toward your goal. And you are riding out the storm, literally. This is related to it, because if something is a very dangerous situation or very unpleasant, sort of like COVID, sort of like the pandemic that we've all been coming through. It's not completely over yet, but we certainly have had the worst of it behind us. And we rode out the storm. The storm meaning last summer. Last summer looked completely different than what this summer is looking like, okay? So that it's an unpleasant situation, and it's not something that we planned or wanted or anything like that, but it was the way life is, okay? That's the way the ball bounces. And so we had to ride out the storm. That means we had to go through it, and whatever we had to do, we had to do, okay? And so that was, if you survived. Now, there are lots of people that did not survive, and so they are not survivors of the pandemic, which means that it's a very sad situation, and it was a dangerous and very unpleasant situation. And sometimes people knew how they, got the virus, and other people didn't know how they got it. And so it was a strange kind of thing. So it was dangerous, okay, because it was so unpredictable and we knew so little about it. Okay, so ride out the storm. If you survive something, that means that you rode out the storm. A race against time. Now, this is to work very quickly to do or finish something before a certain time. Sometimes you could use, say you have a certain deadline. Say you need to give a certain report to your boss by a certain deadline. So, but you need to find out some information. You need to find out statistics to put things together in this report, and the report is due in 5 days or something like that. You are in a race against time, because time keeps going on, but you have to work really hard. You have to work quickly to finish something or do something before a certain time. So a race against time. You can also use it, sometimes that they would use it if someone has been hurt, or they're hurt very badly and they need to get to the hospital. That's what the ambulances, or that they are in a race against time, because sometimes just a few minutes or seconds can make a difference if someone survives something, or if they lose too much blood or something or other before they get much worse. So that also is a race against time, to work very quickly or to finish something before a certain time. This is interesting, to make the cut, and only if you would be, how do I say, if you would be thinking about something, a certain standard of something. Usually people will use this in talking about making a team, making the Olympic team, or going to the Olympics, because of you have to try out. You have to try out for things and make a certain standard there, and then the next level is doing it again, but at a different level, and keeping on until the final level. And then that's when you would make the cut. Each time you make the cut to reach a certain standard or succeed in passing from one round of a competition to another. I use this Olympic athletes, but you could also say, like, say you are going to you're applying for a job that maybe 3,000 people are applying for, but there's only 10 positions, for example. Well, you know that they have to eliminate some of the people. So if you make the cut, that means that you have gone to the next round of, and it's actually a competition. By the time you do that, if there's 3,000 people applying for 10 positions, you know that it's a very stiff competition. It's not an athletic competition, but it uses to make the cut. That's how they use that in all kinds of teams, whether it's baseball or volleyball or football or basketball or soccer, all kinds of, you try out for certain things. And like now with the Olympics going on pretty soon, that if you make the cut, that means that you advance, okay? It's from one round of a competition to the next level or to another one. To let something ride. If you let something ride, that means you do nothing about it. to decide, and you decide to do nothing about it. It's not like you're so busy you don't think about it and you meant to do it. No, no, you decide, I'm not going to do anything, so I'm going to let it ride. And that's to decide to do nothing about a certain situation and to allow it to remain as it is. Okay, I put that last part in because one of my sources put that in, because I thought to decide to do nothing about something, about a certain situation, that sounds like to let something ride, but you allow it to remain the same as it is right now. Sink or swim. This is like to fail or succeed by your own efforts. So that if you say, well, okay, it's time for the final exam in this course I've been taking, and it's either sink or swim. Because if I don't do well, I'll fail the course. If I do well, I'll pass the course. So that it's like, sometimes people will say do or die, okay? And it's the same kind of idea, that it's either one extreme or the other extreme. There's no in between. You either fail or succeed, okay? Do or die, sink or swim. And it's like opposite. Sink is when you go down, and swim is when you survive and are up there. So these are the 5 for today. To ride out the storm, to survive something. To a race against time is what you have for a certain, whether it's a deadline or a certain something, or someone's actual life, a race against time. To make the cut, to keep on competing and continuing to compete in the next level. To let something ride, just not do anything about it. Sink or swim, that means you either fail or succeed, okay, in whatever it is, by your own efforts. So, next time we're going to have a little quiz. We have more than this. We still have about 10, a little less than 10 more idioms in this category, sports, games, and athletics. But we're going to do a little quiz next time, a little quiz on in the class here. So, okay? Now, we're going to leave our idioms and go on to some grammar. And we've been talking about past progressive tense verbs, okay? So let's look at these first. And this is just kind of a review from before. Okay, past progressive verbs, you use them to show an action that was in progress at a certain time in the past. So if you say, I was driving my car, okay, that's a past progressive. It's something that shows that you were doing it at a certain time. Now, this is when, we use it most of the time when we're interrupting the action or showing two things go on at the same time. Here, you use the past progressive was, and let's see here. Oh, okay. Yeah. You use the past progressive and simple past in one sentence to show that one action or event interrupted another action or event that was already going on. I forgot to put up here first. Let me do this. I want to, okay, I want to show you for past progressive the way that we make them, the way that we let me divert here. Past progressive is what we, and if this is new to you, I need to show you how to make them first, okay? Because you use the a past, let's see, how is it? You use the helping verb was or were. So it's was or were. You use the helping word was or were, which is the past of to be, okay, that you should know. So if you say, I was sleeping, you, singular, were sleeping. He or she or it was sleeping. And then you can do the same thing with the plural. You'd say, we, and the only time you use was in the first person singular and the third person singular. Were is for all the rest of them. We were sleeping. You, plural, and I'm going to, were sleeping. They were sleeping. And when I do that, that means ditto, that means it's the same as what's above it. Okay. Sorry, I'm having some problems with my holding things today. Okay. Let's see if it's going to hold. Okay, so this is how we form the past progressive. You use that helping verb, and then you, besides doing that, you use the ing form of the verb. And past progressive verb, next time we're going to talk about it, but past progressive verbs are action mostly. They're not things like stative verbs, and we're going to go into that next time, that non-action. If you say understand, or to love, or to like something, those are not action types of verbs. But sleep, or drive, or run, or those kinds of things, those are action verbs. And so all action verbs are what that the ing form of the verb. So when I said sleeping, the verb form, the verb is sleep, and then the ing form. And that's how we make the past progressive. In case you hadn't been familiar with that, that's using the ing form of the verb. Okay. And another thing I wanted to go over just briefly was, okay, this is the affirmative, but if you add the negative, okay, you could say, I was not sleeping, or wasn't. You were not. Again, it's the same thing for all 6 of the, they call it conjugations, for all 6 of the verbs. And you can always say wasn't or weren't, okay? Okay. So that, the same thing, he wasn't sleeping, or she wasn't sleeping, or it wasn't sleeping. We weren't sleeping. You, plural, weren't sleeping. They weren't sleeping. Because in the negative, you can do the same thing as long as you have the correct form of that verb, okay? And then, if you, okay, this is the positive one, okay? Here is the negative, and then you have the questions. Remember how when we had irregular verbs, past tense verb, we practice these things, okay? And questions would be like, were you sleeping? Or was I sleeping? Were you sleeping? Okay, so the questions are the third type of ones that were, was he sleeping? Were we sleeping? Okay, sometimes you ask yourselves these questions. Were you sleeping? All of you, plural. Were they sleeping? Okay, so that when you form these past progressive verbs, okay, you need to use the helping verbs, was or were, and then use the form, the ing form of the verb. And then there's three ways you can do these. You can say the positive, the negative, and the question. And I know that that's the same for all of the past progressive verbs, okay? There you don't have to worry about changing the form, because if the verb is, let's see, what would be an advanced verb that you have? Analyze. Okay, if you have the verb to analyze something, okay, he was analyzing it, okay? We don't have to worry about any kind of other form than to the ing form. You may have to worry about the spelling, because that's a different story for some of them. But the ing form is always for the past progressive. Here's where the past comes in, and the progressive is what's in progress. So, that being said, okay, we're going to look at the next thing, that this is how we make the past progressive, okay? And when we make the past progressive verbs. But now we're going to look at if we have the simple past and the past progressive, okay? And what it is, and we went over this last time, is that if something is in progress and you want to say something else happened. For example, if you said, I was driving, let's see, and I'm going to say to San Antonio when I got a flat tire. I hope that kind of thing never happens to you, but I guess it happens to everybody sometimes, or you in your lifetime. Okay, what was in progress? I was driving. That was what was in progress. What is the something that happened while that was happening? I got a flat tire, okay? So, got is in the past tense of get, and that's the simple past, okay? One action interrupts another action, okay? So, that's how we combine the past tense and the past progressive, which is a very common way that past progressive is used. Okay? Now, you can change the order. You can change the order of the sentence, of this sentence, okay, by doing, let's say that this is one clause. I was driving to San Antonio. That's an independent clause. That's a sentence all by itself. But the other part is not. When I got a flat tire, it has a subject and a verb, but it's not a complete thought. When I got a flat tire, because of the word when. But you can change this order if you want to. Okay, first I'm going to show you that, then I'm going to show you something else. When I got a flat tire, this is what happened in the past. Then you put a comma there. When I got the flat tire, I was driving to San Antonio. Okay, do you see you're saying the exact same thing, but you changed the order of the sentence. When you do that, you must put a comma after this part, okay? When you make the main thought, the complete thought first, you don't need a comma. I was driving to San Antonio when I got a flat tire. Let me take these off here. Okay. No comma needed there, but there is for the second one, because this, when I got a flat tire, comma, I was driving to San Antonio. Okay. So you can change the order of those two, and that's what this one says. You can change the order of the two parts of the sentence with the continuous action and the continuous action and the interruption, because we call that the simple past. We call that the interruption. Okay. If you start the sentence with the continuous action, I was driving, no comma is needed. If you start the sentence with the action that interrupts the sentence, the continuous act, then you need a comma, okay? So that's all I've talked about there. And this is a review, because I went over this our last class, but I wanted to make sure, because sometimes people get confused, and we're going to do a little exercise. In fact, I think we'll do the little exercise right now, okay? Because this is I only put 6 of them on here, but this is past progressive with interrupted action. So take a check of this for a little bit, okay? They were sleeping. I was skiing. See that word skiing? This is the word to ski. Ski is, I think most people know what skiing is. You can either ski on the water or you can ski on snow, okay? I was skiing. I was cooking. Unfortunately, we all know what cooking is. I was eating a carrot. We were driving to work, and he was standing in the canoe. See, sometimes we use different ones. It could be first person singular, third person singular, first person plural, third person plural, okay? Okay, so what we're going to look at, and this is just kind of a little exercise for you. These are the interrupted actions, and I'm going to see if you see how they make sense. When it turned over, we fell in the water. When I burned my finger. All of these start with when. See that? When the doorbell rang. D. When a car banged into my car. When a truck banged into my car. And I'm using these are all from a textbook, so I thought maybe people haven't talked about something banging into something else, but that's what the idea is, that it hit something. If you bang something, you hit it, okay? When a truck banged into my car. E. When I fell and broke my ankle. F. When my tooth fell out. Okay, take a look and see what you think of these. Number 1, they were sleeping. How could you end that? When my tooth fell out? No. They were sleeping. They were sleeping when the doorbell. They were sleeping. Well, it couldn't be the ones with I, because maybe when the doorbell rang, they were sleeping when the doorbell rang. Okay, so number 1 would be C, wouldn't it? They were sleeping when the doorbell rang. How about I was skiing when it turned over and we fell in the water? No, that's we. When I burned my finger? Well, would you be skiing and burning your finger? Probably not. We've already used C. When a truck banged, no, into my car. When I fell and broke my ankle? Oh, when my tooth fell out? I was skiing, probably E. when I fell and broke my ankle. They were probably snow skiing, most likely. Could have been water skiing, but most likely snow skiing. Okay, number 3, I was cooking. How could you end that one? Which one makes sense? I was cooking. Did you say when I burned my finger? Yes, that's correct. I was cooking when I burned my finger. Okay. I was eating a carrot. Okay, it has to be I, not it. And not the, let's see, we've already used B, C, and E. When a truck banged, I was eating a carrot when a truck banged into my car. That doesn't really sound like it connects, does it? When my tooth fell out. Oh, I was eating a carrot when my tooth fell out. Okay, carrots, if it's a raw carrot, they're delicious, but maybe it's too hard and your tooth fell out, or maybe your tooth was loose or something. Okay, number 5, we were driving to work. Now it has to do with we. When it turned over and we fell in the water, no, that didn't sound right. We've used B, C, and E. When a truck banged into my car, we were driving. Ah, we were in the car, weren't we? So it would be D. Okay, so we've used B, C, D, E, F. It can only be one. He was standing in the canoe. Does everybody know what a canoe is? It's like a long boat. A canoe. You sit kind of just on little things, but you paddle on both sides of your canoe. When it turned over and we fell in the water. Okay, canoes are so much fun, and usually it's best if there's 2 people. Sometimes there's just one, but and you can carry more people in there. But when it turned over, they do. It's not, you don't put a motor on a canoe. You use your arms, your own power. Okay, so when it turned over, he was standing in the canoe, because you shouldn't stand up in them. They're very low. And when it turned over and we fell into the water. So that's a little exercise. And you notice how all of these things were going on. This is what the progress was. This is what interrupted the progressive, or the action that was going on. Okay? Now, we're going to talk about one more thing here. And that is using when and while, okay? I think I'll turn this one around right now because there won't be any background there, okay? Now, use when with the interrupted past tense verb, just like this one. When I got a flat tire, that's the interruption, the past tense verb. I got a flat tire. Use while with the activity in progress. You don't use them in the same sentence, okay? When means at that time. That's why it's the past, simple past. It's at that time. While means during the time that. During the time that I was driving, I got a flat tire. So we're going to look at something. Let's take this same sentence here. I'm going to take the first part, done the first way. I was driving to San Antonio when I got a flat tire. Okay, remember I said you can't use them in the same sentence, and you use while with the continuous, with the in progress. So if you said, while I was driving to San Antonio, so you wouldn't use when then. I'd say, I got a flat tire. Do you see the difference? Here I'm using while with this, with the in progress, with the continuous, the past progressive verb. While I was driving, I got a flat tire.